get your results out of it. It'll get the sort of the actual data that you want to sort of work with, but then pass it over to a JSP to format the output. What this will be what's called the controller, possibly interacting with a database, which will be what we refer to as our model, and the JSP to format it will be referred to as our viewer. Now I'm only just sort of introducing the names here really, but this is a technique called an MVC, or a model view controller, and is extremely common in terms of web and web services development. You have somebody who receives the data and does a little bit of processing, and then another part that does the interaction with the database, and then the final part, you pass that resulting data over to something to actually get it in the right sort of format for to show to the user. Because at that point, that will go back to the client. Now the way in which the data is passed between these three is using these things called Java beans, which are just basically Java objects, plain old Java data objects, where you've got various attributes, getters and setters. They don't do any processing, they just hold data and will pass them around. Now you'll see this coming out in the, certainly in your assignment, and certainly in the lab this week when we look at this film data accessor object to interact with the database. And we'll be working up to about this sort of level. The bit about using JSP with expression languages and custom tags and things like that, a bit beyond what we want to sort of cover in this, but certainly if you're doing bits on sort of web application development, you'll start to come across this, where you'll see the JSP tags written in XML and things like that. But this is about all that we're going to sort of go up to, because at some point here where you'll need to be deciding, am I writing in a servlet or am I writing in JSP? And it depends on what type of application you're writing. Are you writing something that's essentially a lot of processing and interacting with the database, or are you writing something that generates a lot of output, or a combination of both? If you've got a lot of output, as I say, we typically do that in JSP. You want to limit the amount of Java code in JSP because it just detracts away from the ease of maintenance of it, and it actually can sort of slow it down. What we're attempting to do is to do this sort of changing around of responsibilities. And we get people developing the JSP who are more front-end designers, people who are more used to sort of doing HTML, screen design, that sort of thing, layouts using perhaps some sort of JavaScript. And then you get the actual sort of coders working on the sort of servlets to it. So it depends on how much sort of coding you're doing. If you're doing a lot of coding, then you write separate classes in Java rather than HTML. You don't sort of build it inside the HTML, and it becomes easier to sort of debug. And also it becomes easier to test like that, rather than having to write it from the front for it. We'll see some of the JSP in the labs. But for now, I'll sort of leave it there. When you sort of come along, have a, if you want to do it on your own machines in the lab, please try and have a go at sort of installing Tomcat before, so I'm not sort of spending too much time sort of going around installing it. But I'll just jump onto the JSP then. Okay, I'll leave it there for today, thank you. If you haven't signed a register sheet, it's probably still on the back, so it's 11. Not one there, can we move it down?